Hi, this is Bob from edtechify.com, and recently I posted a GAFE for Staff 30-day Chrome challenge, which basically is a glorified spreadsheet that acts kind of like a task list for self-directed professional development that rewards a certificate at the end, and there's been some requests for me to create a tutorial on how to create such a spreadsheet. So that's what I'm going to do here today. So here I have the spreadsheet kind of up and available. And to show you kind of the premise of how this works, set it by days, so day 1 through day 26, for example, and as people are checking off items on the list, okay, then it displays under the status column whether or not it was completed, and if they go out of order, then it displays wrong order. All right. When all tasks have been completed, then suddenly we get some magic prompting happening, right? So it's displaying them for either their name, they could type in, and some directions on how to view the certificate. View Hidden Sheets certificate. So I'm gonna go View Hidden Sheets certificate, and then here's a certificate with their name from the previous sheet and some authentication. Okay, to show you how this works, let me reset some things here. So in column A, we have basically a checkbox or a checklist of either a dash or a check. Okay, to create this, you just select your range, go over to Data, Validation, and then you're going to select Criteria, List of Items, and then what you want as part of your dropdown. So I have a dash and a checkbox, or checkmark, sorry. And to get these characters, I use one of my favorite sites, copypastecharacter.com, which basically provides you with a set of like wingdings from the times of old, and you just click on the character that you want, and you can paste it wherever you want as font, which is kind of cool. All right, so I had a checkbox there, or check mark. All right, so as people are checking things off, okay, all the magic is really happening in the formulas in column D. So to show what those are, in D2, which is the very first task, basically it's a big if statement. So if the cell A2 is a check, which it is, then it's going to mark this as completed, and with the today's date. Otherwise, it's going to display this ... like you see in the remaining columns. Okay. So if it's not a check, ... If it is a check, the date. The rest of the cells are basically the same formula, but instead of seeing whether or not the cell in column A is a check, it's actually doing a count to see how many checks there are. All right, so it's not just if it's a check, it's if it's a count if with a range of the checks. So it's counting how many checks there are, and it's validating that against the cell of B3 here. Okay. And if it's the number of checks equals the day number, then it will display completed with the date. Otherwise, it's going to go to another if statement. All right, so here for example, I have 1 check, and so this is displaying a dot, because since it does not equal 2, it's going to this if statement. All right, so this if statement says if A3 is a dash, which it is, it's going to display ... If it's anything else, it's going to display wrong order. All right. So the reason why it's saying completed here, not wrong order, is because it never hits this if statement, because it's satisfied the fact there are 2 checkboxes or 2 check marks, and we're on day 2, so 2 equals 2, and so it's going to display completed. All right. However, if I skip day 1 and go right to day 2, now it displays wrong order. Okay, reason being, it's counting the number of checks. There's only 1 in the range. So since it doesn't equal 2 for day 2, it's going to go to this if statement. So if A3 is a dash, which it's not going to display ... Instead, it's going to display wrong order, which it does. All right, so that's basically all it is. Okay. So once 5 equals 5 check marks, now the display is completed. all the magic down here is basically checking the same thing. So now it's checking to see if there are 30 checks. So if there are 29 checks, nothing's displaying down here yet. But the moment they click that 30th check, right, now we are displaying some information. Right? So if count if there are 30 checks, then it will display type your full name. Otherwise, it's just going to display nothing. Same thing for here. Here's an empty cell. We just want them to type their name. And the same thing with this. So it's displaying is that if this is empty, then this will be empty. Otherwise, it will display this information. So really, they could get around this if they had typed anything in this cell here, but without the prompts, they wouldn't know to do that necessarily. So if I were to type C here, for example, obviously then it displays it. But again, it's all smoke and mirrors. Right? All right. So again, once everything's checked, they type in their name. Prompts them to view the certificate, view hidden sheets certificate with the information from the previous spreadsheet. Now, if people are savvy and they try just doing view sheet just to print the sheet without doing the tasks, okay, then instead of displaying the information, it's going to display something different. So there's no logo, there's no reward, there's no prompts. It says you have not completed whether you have completed. There's no signature, right? And again, these are all if statements based on the previous sheet. Right, so it's looking to see that certain fields are filled out in this sheet before it displays the correct information here. And so you can go through and click the different cells and figure out what those functions are, sorry, those formulas are, so you can see kind of how it works. And that's basically it. So I'm no spreadsheet wizard, but I did devise a way to kind of make it as kind of gamified. If you are more savvy than I am and you can know of a better way of kind of displaying this information, please leave me a comment. I'd love to be able to prove this for everybody. All right, if you have any questions, feel free to email me at r.petito@gmail.com. Thanks for watching.